It's my pleasure to introduce our main speaker. Sean, come on up. Give Sean a round of applause. Sean David back there will give you a 10-minute and then
5 minute,
5
3
minute
minute.
count you
All
down.
right.
What, 40?
Huh?
40?
You said you wanted time for other people to talk. That's what I remember hearing earlier. You guys heard that? My name's Sean. I'm an alcoholic.
Sean!
I have a sobriety date. Last time I was here, I cheated myself of a year, so I'm going to make sure I get the date right. I have a sobriety date of December of 2022. I graduated Fred Brown's in March of 23. I don't know how I did it. I really don't, dude. You guys, it's crazy. I'm a complete different person. Hey, bro, great job.
Thank you.
You know, you did fantastic, dude. It does suck to get up here. It's nerve-wracking, dude. I hate it, bro. I hate Nancy sometimes for asking me to do this. And I know why she has me come back, because she's checking my story. She's going to go back and watch all the other times I've spoke and, like, make sure I'm telling the truth. Don't do that. That's why I'm just skipping ahead to take out all the lies. I'm just going to jump right ahead to my recovery. You know, real quick, so I'll go. I don't like talking about my using and stuff like that, dude, either. I don't. You know, we all did it, right? We've all done the same shit. Sorry for cussing. I apologize. I'm going to try my best, Roxy. So, you know, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. My big thing was meth and booze. I loved it. Took me to prison a whole bunch of times. You know, I don't know why I loved it, because it took away everything. I did. I loved it, though, at the time. But it took away everything, you know. Been to prison 7 times. The last time, I didn't know what to do. I got out and caught 4 more cases within, like, 2 months, dude. That was after COVID, so they were bailing out and letting you out all the time. You know, it was great. And caught 4 cases within a couple months. It was horrible. And I knew I was going back, you know. I knew I was going back to prison, and I just didn't want that anymore. One of my friends was back getting loaded again, but he said, "Oh, I just went to Fred Brown's, dude, and it was great there, and, you know, you should go so you don't go back to prison." And I'm like, well, that's not going to work, because, you know, courts never gave me any kind of love, dude. I don't know about you guys, but they hate me, dude. I go in there, it's like maxing that dude out every time, you know. No programs, no drug court, none of that stuff that all these, you know, lucky people get. They just threw me away, you know, and I deserved it. I was an ass. And anyway, so I call and I talk to Liz, you know, and she tells me, you know, oh yeah, we'll have a spot in a couple weeks. Anyways, I ended up doing a violation, and 90 days later I get out, and I call Liz because I had nothing else to do. I didn't want to stop using. I didn't want to stop drinking. I just wanted to stop going to prison. You know, that's all I wanted. I was so tired of getting locked up. You know, I wasted 20 years of my life behind bars, and you know, I had nothing to show for it. My life was shit. You know, I had a kid I didn't even know. I had a son. I had no clue who he was. You know, I could count on time. You know, he was what? Probably 11, and I can count how many times I've seen him on my hand, dude. You know, and every time I go to prison, I'm like, oh, when I get out, dude, shit's gonna be different. You know, and the first person I called when I got out was my connect. You know what I mean? I got loaded every time, dude. But I swore in there, you know, I'm doing shit different this time. I got it figured out. You know, I know what I did wrong, you know, but I wanted to be a father, because I had a really good father growing up. You know, my dad was in AA. He died with 23 years sobriety, and he was a fantastic dad. You know, I grew up in a really good house. I was just I was just an ass. You know, I was horrible, dude. I was angry at the world. I knew everything. No one could tell me nothing, right? That's just kind of how we all roll, right? And you know, if it got me in trouble, I liked it because it gave me some kind of attention, I guess. I don't know. Made me feel good. I don't know. It was really weird. But I can't blame my childhood on anything. You know, I was raised in a good home. I just like to get high. You know, I like drugs, dude. And anyway, so I get out. I call Liz again, and she's like, "Yeah, we'll have a bed soon, and don't worry." And I got this little hotel. I got an ounce of dope and a couple bottles of booze. I was like, well, I'm partying until it comes. You know what I mean? Until this day comes, I'm gonna get good and loaded and enjoy my, you know. So I got to go to this stupid rehab and you know, give this stupid thing a shot, right? I did. I got really loaded for about 2 weeks, and I got a call from Liz she goes, hey, and I get her in trouble every time I say this. I'm so sorry, Liz. But it's, it's on record anyway, so what's the point? I can't hide from it. So I tell her, hey, she goes, hey, I got a spot open. It was Saturday night. She's like, hey, I got a spot open for you. You got to come in tomorrow. And I go, well, hold on a second, because my chick just bought me Charger tickets, dude. I'm a Charger fan, and I've never been to a football game before, you know what I mean? And she's like, dude, she just bought me these tickets. I'm sorry, but I'm not coming to rehab, I'm going to the Charger game. But afterwards, if it's, if I can, I'll come back, maybe Monday, She's like, well, don't get too drunk, don't drink too much. You can't come in here with a bunch of alcohol on you. And I was like, no problem, and I did just that. Monday I showed up late, of course, right? Like we do, she's like, be there at 9. I was there at like 12. And I pull up with my homegirl, dude, and I do the last line right in the driveway, And I've been up for like 2 weeks, And I go in there and I sit down. I met Nancy. She offers me a cigarette, and I tell her, but you know who I am? I got cigarettes. I came here prepared. I don't need your help. I'm good, but thank you, whatever. She directs me in the office, and I see this lady, Sherry, and, I'm fidgeting all around. I'm like, she's like, what's wrong with you? I go, I'm high as hell. What do you expect? Isn't that how I'm supposed to come to rehab? You know what I mean? Like, that's how, you don't come sober. Who comes to rehab sober? That's stupid. I didn't bring any. I don't got any in my pocket, so it's okay, right? But yeah, I'm high, And she goes, God, just fill this out, or I don't know. I don't even remember. Sign this and go to bed, And this was back in 2022. They still had a COVID. I don't know if you guys still have that. Okay, they had a COVID house, and they put us in there for 2 weeks. And I went in there and I crashed out, dude. And I only woke, it was great, dude. I woke up every, few hours. They bring me food, a little, box of food. I wasn't allowed to go to meetings or leave. Didn't have to talk to nobody for the most part. And they bring me food. I wake up, eat, and pass back out. And it was great. No groups, no nothing, dude. Just sleep and food. And it was good food. That's part of the reason why I stayed, And also I was too tired to leave. And they took my cell phone, so I couldn't call anybody. And again, I didn't want to be here. Anybody here do not want to be here right now in this meeting? It's okay. Close your eyes, staff. You know what I mean? Video's recording me, so it's good. I didn't want to be here. I remember countless times I come in this place and I'll get to that in a second. Anyways, so I wake up, maybe come out of the fog, maybe about a week and a half into it, and the first person I'm meeting, my laundry had to be done, right? So they washed it, and I guess I just left it up there. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, okay? This is just what happened. I just letting you guys know, if there's anybody here, I'm sorry. I'll apologize, beforehand. But I wake up and I go out there, and this dude's doing my laundry, right? And I'm like, dude, that's my laundry. What are you doing, dude? Get off my shit. You know what I mean? I'm mad. I'm aggressive. I'm angry, And this person turns to me and they're like, oh, this is yours? Well, I got it. They folded it, put it on my bed and stuff. And they're like, oh, I'm so-and-so. Are you gay? Because I'm gay. And I was like, oh my God, bro, I got to go. I can't stay here. I don't know what the fuck is going on right now. I'm like, I'm just going to go back and lay down. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go back and lay down. I don't understand this shit. And that was the last thing I wanted to hear. First person I met, And I go back in a couple days later. I get woke up and they're going, hey, dude, COVID time is over. You got to come to this Friday graduation ceremony thing. I was like, fuck, here it comes. Here comes these groups, stupid. So the only person I've met so far is this other person, right? Wasn't happy about it. And they take me to this graduation out in this garage. I'm looking at all these people I don't know. And again, I'm tired. I just want to go back to bed. I want to eat some food. I want to smoke a cigarette. And I don't want to talk. You know what I mean? I don't want to be here. I don't want to know you people. Next thing I know, we're singing some stupid song. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Where am I at? Holding hands and shit. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. And I get mad, and I just want to go back to my bed, dude, and that's what I do. And eventually they end up moving me out, and I argue with that, and Nancy puts me in that 5-person bedroom because I had a big attitude and I wanted to fight with everybody. She left me in there for a month and a half, dude. You know what I mean? In the 5-person one, dude. I hated it, bro. I hated people. I was very argumentative. Like I said, I still didn't want to get sober halfway through this thing. You know what I mean? I didn't want to stay clean, dude. I just didn't want to go to prison. They asked me what I wanted when I first got there. I said, I want a motorcycle that's not stolen, you know what I mean, that's in my name. I want my son back in my life, and I want to not go to prison anymore. You know, that's all I wanted. Very simple, right? That's the only reason I'm here. Not here to really get clean, just here to get all the cool stuff, you know? And I figured you guys would keep me out of prison. So, you know, I gave it a shot. And I got in a lot of trouble while I was here. I actually had one of the staff members, I got up to beat someone up in one of the groups. He ran and grabbed me and just threw me outside. And I don't know how many walks I went on with some of these counselors, dude. Come on, Sean, we're walking around the block, you know. So I want to fight. I want to argue. I thought my opinion was right, and whether it was right or not, I was going to tell you, dude, whether you wanted to hear it or not. You know, I knew everything, you know. I had 30 days sober, and I was smarter than everybody else here, you know. Don't you guys know, you know? And that was my attitude. I hated everybody. I hated everything I had to do. I hated those stupid letters. I hated writing. I hated the way the letters made me feel. I didn't want any part of this stuff, but I didn't want any part of what was outside here even more, you know? I'd rather have what I had in here than what I had out there. Anyway, so about halfway through my stay here, I had a bunch of cases, right? I got a call, and I was told that all these cases, they were filing on me, and I had a pretty decent size, got caught in Orange County with a bunch of shit, bunch of fentanyl, you know, bunch of dope, guns, and all sorts of shit. And that's what I always go to prison for, is gun sales, you know? And this is 2022, they were strict on fentanyl then, and I had 16 ounces, I had a couple pounds of dope, the gun, the stolen car. I had 3 other cases in, you know, other counties, all the same shit. And I was like, dude, they're gonna put me back to prison, dude. I'm going back for probably another 10 years. You know, I just got done doing 9, probably go back for another 10. And I was like, that's it. Screw this place. You know what I mean? I'm out of here, bro. You guys can't save me, you know? I know what the courts do. You know, I walk in there, they arrest me, I don't come back out for years. You know, that's how it works. I went and talked to, who did I don't remember, somebody. And I told them what was going on, and I told them I'm leaving, you know what I mean? I'm gonna call my girlfriend, we're gonna go get a hotel, we're gonna get high, and catch me when you can. You know, that's how I live my life. Very similar to what he was talking about, is, you know, I run from my problems. That's what I did. That's all I knew, you know, I was a runner. I never turned myself in. Coming to rehab was like turning myself in, you know what I mean? That was like the worst thing I ever did. That was horrible, that was hard. Honestly, I don't even know how I got here, dude. Now I know it was God, you know what I mean? That was someone else doing for me what I couldn't do for myself at the time. You know, my circumstances were screwed. And I mean, I had my Connect drive me to like the rehab and drop me off. So it was really weird. But like, yeah, right? That's how you do it. Yeah, I knew I liked you. And anyway, so, you know, I talked to him, and someone told me, you know, if you leave, you're for sure going to go back to prison. You know, 100%. If you leave this program, dude, you are going back to prison. If you do not leave, there's a chance, not saying it's going to happen, but there's a chance you won't. And I believed him. You know, it made sense to me. You know, I knew if I left, yes, you're right, I am going to go back to prison. Because I'm going to go out there and do what I do and get busted, and it's a wrap. You know, my son was like 12 or 13 at the time. I forgot, and I would never, you know, I wouldn't see him until he's in his 20s, and that's not what I wanted. And I had nowhere to go, to be honest with you. Everybody out there hated me probably because I was a horrible person. You know, all these so-called friends I had, they probably didn't want to see me anyways. You know, so like, I really had nowhere to go, dude. And so I stuck it out. And Abel, when the court date came up, you know, Abel took me. And I got ready, like, you know, those who've been upstate know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? I got the tobacco, I got ready to go, because I knew they were going to take me in, you know? I get there, and I found out I did all that for nothing. That judge was so cool and so supportive of my decision of coming to this program that he asked me, he was like, when do you want to come back to court? Just stay at the program. When do you want to come back to court, though? I was like, well, what's the longest? You know what I mean? How far are we talking here? Never, right? And he goes, no, you got 60 days. I was like, well, whatever 60 days is, I'll take that one, you know, and I'll come back. He goes, all right, but don't leave the program or I'm going to send you to prison. And I went, all right, yeah, for sure, you know, and got out, you know, got rid of the tobacco I had, and was kind of embarrassed, all the homeboys, because I told them this, and they were like, you're stupid, dude. You know, but hey, we do, you know what I mean? I had to have money when I went in there, you know what I mean? And so, you know, And it was a big old waste of time, you know, and tobacco. But anyways, that's when that happened. When I got back, you know, Abel was talking to me, and a lot of people think Abel is Abel, right? But you know, he was a really good person to go with. You know, I had this perception of him like he was an asshole, no one likes him, so I don't like him. You know what I mean? He's a jerk, and everybody's right. I'm not even going to talk to this dude, and that's what I did most of the time. I didn't talk to him. But on this ride home to and from court, like, he really helped me, dude. He you know, he stood up in court and said, hey, I'm here supporting, you know, Sean. I'm from the program, and I didn't expect him to do that. That was like way out, because no one's ever stood up for me. No one's ever been there for me, right? They told me to get a bunch of letters, you know, to give to the judge, and I got a bunch of them. I got one from my sponsor, and some guy I met at a panel, right, at our place, you know. You know, he'd been to prison, so I was like, yeah, you want to be my sponsor, dude? You know what I mean? White guy, right? So, yeah, dude, cool. And that was about all the connection him and I had at the time. He wrote me a letter, and you know, the people at 505 wrote me a letter. You know, Fred Brown's wrote me a letter. Strides wrote me a letter. My PO even wrote me a letter, dude. And you know, his letter was real funny. He was like, now Mr. Walsh comes in, and his clothes aren't dirty anymore. And I was like, that's what you write a judge, dude? Thanks, bro. You know, he's not all filthy and dirty. Like, what? That's 2 months of sobriety. I guess I really, you know. But anyways, so like, and my PO was a dick, dude. He had me seeing him every week. I had to go there every Thursday to go see that dude when I was in the program, dude. Jerk. And he wrote me that letter, but the judge loved it, and you know, because of those letters, and because I was in this program, because Abel stood up, and because I showed up, because I did contrary actions. I listened to somebody. I listened to people that knew they had good advice. You know, I didn't want the advice. You know, I wanted to leave and go hook up with my chick in a hotel. You know, I didn't want to go to court. I was scared shitless of it. You know, I don't even know how I did it. You know, I mean, a lot of these staff members here held my hand, and you know, and I'm very grateful, you know. But that was the first time I saw, and I realized that there might be something to this shit. You know, when I walked out of that courtroom and the judge, and not in handcuffs, you know what I mean? I realized that my idea of running was really, really stupid, and these people's advice worked, you know, and that was a big eye-opening moment for me. You know, I thought maybe there is something to this shit, you know, maybe they're right. Maybe stuff can be different, you know? And eventually, I cleared that case. I got out of rehab in March, moved to sober living. Within 2 weeks, I think, I got kicked out of one place and moved to another house, where thank God I had Matt, because he was the coolest house manager ever. And I lasted there for like a month or a month and a half, and then I was like, I gotta go, because I had met all the higher ups, and they were all not happy with me because I had a big mouth, you know what I mean? And I like to tell people what I think, and I did that in groups. I did that all the time, you know, and I got myself in a lot of trouble. So before they could kick me out, I got an apartment in Pedro, because I didn't want to go nowhere else. I didn't know anywhere else. I got a little apartment over here, and I stayed an outpatient, you know what I mean? Because I was scared to let go completely. You know, through Fred Brown's, I've got, at the time, maybe like 5 months sober, you know, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, man, if I leave, like if I just leave and cut all ties, I know where I'm gonna end up. So, you know, they may not like me at outpatient, but they're getting my money, and my counselor likes me, so she said I can stay. So, you know what I mean? I'm gonna come, and you know, you guys gotta put up with me, but I'm gonna shut up. And I did my best. But I ended up staying in sober living for about a year. I'm sorry, not sober living, outpatient for a year, until my counselor was like, dude, you've been here long enough. You know, you're done. You don't need this anymore. You know, move on with your life, you know? And I was really scared, you know. I was like, well, you know, that was kind of like a safety thing for me. You know, it helped me, it made me feel like accountable, right? Like I had to show up, and I had to show up clean, you know, every week. And I was scared to leave it because I didn't know what else to do, you know. I was only going to like one meeting a week, maybe a month at the time, you know. I don't do anything right, guys, just so you guys know, dude. Don't follow my footsteps, because I did this program all wrong, dude. I did a lot of the things how I wanted to do it for a long time, till probably till I got about a year sobriety, you know. I kind of did what I wanted, you know. I got a job right away, and I'm a big believer in this, dude. When you get out, you can lie your ass off on resumes, okay? If you've been, I was in the pen my whole life, dude, and I wrote down that, I mean, it wasn't a complete lie. You know, I was like, I've been a cook, you know, or for so long at this, and I gave him like the address to the you know what I mean, to the pin. I gave him like the address, you know. I didn't write the name, you know, and I was like, yeah. And I was at this. I worked as a baker for the wildland firefighting place, you know. But you know what? It got me a job, dude. It got me a job, dude, at the Trump golf course right there. You know, I actually met Trump. I was his personal cook when he came in 23. You know, gave me $100. And then they fired me because Secret Service ran a background check and they fired me. But it was cool while it lasted, you know what I mean? It was cool while it lasted. So anybody who says that you can't, I know I was thinking I'm probably not going to be able to get a job, someone that hasn't worked his whole life other than, you know, jailhouse jobs, right? I was scared shitless. I didn't know what to do, but I just did what I was told would work, like go apply, you know what I mean? Just put yourself out there. Go apply, and if you get an interview, we'll talk about it then. My counselor she helped me, sorry, I'm not saying her name. She helped me write my resume and kind of, you know, helped me out a lot. So, and I got the job, you know, and then after that I got another job and another job. And now I have a fantastic job. I run a restaurant down in LA, and I'm like a salary, dude, and they gave me PTO, which I had no idea. I thought that was some kind of like insurance or like medical stuff, you know what I mean? I didn't know what that was, dude. And I found out it's paid time off. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. I didn't even know what that fucking shit was, you know?
That motorcycle?
I got the motorcycle. I had my kid over for Christmas the last 2 years, man, and you know, I have everything. If that's all I got with those three things, dude, out of sobriety, I would have been happy. But I would have shortchanged myself so much.
That's right.
I have gotten, my life is incredible now. You know, I have a commitment at a meeting, my home group. I'm missing it right now. It's my Tuesday, you know, book study. It's at the MWA, and I am the treasurer there. I'm the treasurer somewhere. They trust me with money. You know what I mean? Not even that much, but still, they trust me. You know what I mean? You know, I do all the things that was suggested. You know, I do whatever I can for the next man. I'm a big supporter of Strides. Some of you guys might have met me on Thursday, who came out and ran with me. I'm really, really involved with Strides. I don't even like running. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't, but I love that organization. They have helped me through, being a part of that has really helped me through some tough times in my life, and it helps me to give back. I'm a head coach over at Beacon House, and I've been doing it for 3 years since I got out. They were the first person that gave me the job with Strides, you know what I mean? I don't know where I'd be without that program. You know, I have met so many people that aren't, you know, drug addicts or alcoholics, you know, that are within this running community. And they're like, I tell them, you know, we go there and we have little booths and stuff at the marathons, and they come up and they ask us, and so many people are like, oh, my brother, or oh, my cousin, or me, or someone I know. Everybody has a story of someone in their life that has been affected by, you know, alcoholism and drug addiction, and they are so like welcoming to our organization. It's amazing, dude. People out there have big hearts. I never knew that could ever be involved in something like that's positive, you know, that helps people. Like I never wanted to, you know, and I never thought I could be a part of that, and now I am. And to be a part of something so good, it just makes me feel great. You know, I get to see people's lives change and be a part of that, and I do it every week, and it's fantastic. I have a new volunteer over there that helps me out, and appreciate you, buddy. And you know, I don't know, life is really good today. You know, when I was sitting there listening to him talk, I was like, what am I gonna, you know, I gotta fill up a bunch of time. I don't really know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how much time do I have left. Anybody know? 5 minutes?
14 minutes.
Fuck, you lied to me. 14 minutes? 30. 30. I gotta give, other people wanna talk here, bro. So You know, one of my favorite passages in the book, the AA book, is we have recovered from a hopeless state of mind and soul, right? When I go to my home group is a book study. It's a hardcore book study. It's a very good group of people, small group, but we read, we go through all the steps of the big book, and we break it down sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. So going to that meeting really helped me because I got to learn from people who've been there before. And I learned in Fred Brown's that people that have been there before have better answers than I do, you know? So I really got involved in this meeting, started going every week. I've been going for 3 years now. And that passage right there is probably my favorite one because I remember that feeling of hopelessness, that feeling, you know, of just nothing's gonna go right. Why am I even trying? You know, out there struggling every day, you know, doing all the crazy shit we do to get a hotel room and to do this and just to survive. You know what I mean? I used to work so damn hard every day, dude, to make sure I had the things I needed. And I knew that I was just gonna give it all away when I got busted again. You know, I knew my son didn't want to see me. My kid's mom didn't want to see me. You know, no one wanted to see me, you know, and I felt so alone. And that line right there is amazing because I don't feel that way no more. You know, I look back now and it's like, I remember feeling that way, but I don't remember what the feeling felt like because I haven't felt that in years. You know, I am full of gratitude. I am so hopeful. I know that if I keep doing what I'm doing, my sponsor told me, don't change anything you're doing, dude. Your program is your program. Whatever you're doing, don't fucking change it because if you do, something may happen, you know? And so I just stick to the same stuff. My life's not exciting, super exciting. It's not super boring. It's just a good life, dude. Like I'm happy all the time. And you know, I don't have everything I ever wanted, but I have a roof over my head. I got a good job. I just bought a brand new car for my girl, so I don't get to drive it though. You know what I mean? I get the old beater, but whatever, right? I have a credit card. I have a driver's license. I got a driver's license, dude. I haven't had a driver's license since 2003, you know, and that's because, always doing illegal shit. Why buy a car, right? They're gonna take it anyways when you get pulled over. So, you know, but now I have all these things. I have insurance. I have a healthcare plan. I have all these things that I've never had before, dude. And they may seem little to some people here, but to me, like having a driver's license, that's a big deal, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. And, you know, I have my son back in my life, which I get to see whenever I want. I have a girl she just took 3 years, and we have a great relationship. I don't think we've ever really argued, which is wild to me, you know what I mean? That's my first real relationship ever in life because I've never had a relationship before, you know? My relationship was with drugs, and that was it, you know what I mean? I didn't care about nothing else. And I have learned so much in this program, and I am not by any means like I said, dude, I've done all this wrong, and I keep doing shit wrong. You know what I mean? I suggest you guys do better than me. But you know, all I do is I just do what I think is right. You know what I mean? I try not to hurt anybody. I try not to lie. I try not to do any kind of like. I check my motives. You know what I mean? Whenever I'm doing something in my life, I really check I ask myself, like, why am I doing this? What's my motives behind this? And as long as they're good, then I'm cool, man. I'm going through my 4-step all over again with my sponsor. I just read it to him, and they're talking about resentments and stuff I'm ashamed of. And I'm like, dude, I don't have any resentments, dude. Like today, I don't have anything I'm ashamed of that was wild to me. Like I had to really search, so I just put down some names for some stupid shit. Doesn't really bother me, just so it was filled. You know what I mean? So he couldn't tell me when I was lying. You know what I mean? But life is really good today, dude. If you live by this program, your life will change. You know, and you don't have to do it right. I'm a perfect example. You can do everything wrong, dude. But as long as you don't go out there and as long as you don't go out there and get loaded or do something stupid, you know, there's always hope. You know, and if I can do it, any of you guys can do it, man. I guarantee it, dude. You can ask some of these staff members, I was a mess. And now my life is phenomenal because of this place. I am so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me come speak. You guys are fantastic. I know if you guys don't want to be here, that's where you should be, right? Your head should be there, because when I was here, I didn't want to be here either. I don't want to be here now speaking. You know what I mean? But, you know, just stick around. Don't leave. That's the important part. I love you guys. Thank you very much.